From Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. Preparations in top gear ahead of Rivers State Local Council election as police beef up security across the state. Federal government intervenes in deepening rift between states and electricity distribution companies over tariff-setting powers. Turkey serves economic ties with Israel and shuts its airspace amid escalating tensions over Gaza.
In business, Nigerian Postal Service announces all postal shipments to U.S. will attract mandatory customs duty of $80 or its Naira equivalent.
In sports, Super Eagles manager releases final squad list ahead of upcoming 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers next month.
Thanks for joining us. Tonight begins now. We begin tonight in Rivers State, South Nigeria, where last-minute preparations are in top gear ahead of the local council election. While the state electoral body, political parties and security operatives express confidence in their readiness, perceptions among electorates and civic groups remain divided. News Central's correspondent Biola Festus reports.
State Independent Electoral Commission unveiled a revised timetable and a new election date. The Commission's headquarters in Port Harcourt has been a beehive of political activity with no weekends spared. With only hours to the polls, the RISEC chairman has assured security agencies that all logistics are in place.
We are here to assure you with the Commissioner of Police that we have really almost concluded to launch into Saturday.
If there's any reason for this first call, we have our men strategically located in different places that will come out to assist when there are security threats. We must own this election and we must make it a success.
But with just 20 days left before the end of emergency rule imposed on the state by the presidency, and given the short notice for the exercise, opinions remain sharply divided among residents.
Election, we already know that it's election and not depending on the vote of the people. So we are really disappointed for that very day.
I'm not really sure I'll go out. But if I look at the situation of things till that around 2 o'clock and everywhere is calm, I'll peep from afar. After peeping from afar and I see that everything is going on well, no one is doing anything, I'll go there, cast my votes.
Some civil society groups and factional political parties have gone further, accusing RISEC of constitutional violations and attempting to subvert their rights.
We are calling on Rivers people, political parties, all election stakeholders to boycott the illegal elections as proposed by the illegal RISEC.
The RISEC chose to recognize persons unknown to us as persons who should submit or nominate candidates in the name of the APC. And I think that this is completely wrong. In fact, the RISEC should be apologizing to Rivers people and Nigerians.
On the other hand, the National Youth Council of Nigeria in Rivers State has urged young people to participate in the polls, stressing the urgency of grassroots representation.
We have come to a conclusion that Rivers youth now have the marching order to come out in their number to participate, vote, and be voted for in the forthcoming 30th August local government elections.
As Rivers residents head to the ballot on August 30, the big question is whether voter apathy will define the process or if there will be a last-minute surge in participation. In Port Harcourt for News Central, Biola Festus.
Biola Festus. Igbalani Omoni, both are correspondents here at News Central. They are on the ground in Rivers State covering the elections, and they join me now for a live update of how prepared the state is. Let me start with you, Ni. Good evening. What is your assessment of the level of preparations ahead of Saturday's exercise? It's just a few hours away.
It's in threefold. I'll start with the electorate. On the part of the electorate, I would say there are indications that these political and legal tussle that RISEC is currently facing might further dwindle the turnout of electorates tomorrow. However, we can't be certain, because if some people we spoke with said they will come out to exercise their franchise, and the majority of people as well said they won't come out. Some are even nonchalant about the fact that they need to exercise their franchise, knowing how important this election is, because it is about grassroots governance. However, we can't see anything for certain, because tomorrow we will be able to assess fully what exactly come out to play, if there is voter apathy or not. Now, coming to the security agencies, today we've seen a handful of sister agencies, security agency, NSCDC, the police, the military. In fact, if we joined earlier, you would have seen about 3 patrol vehicles of fully mounted army and military men personnel, if I could put it that way, on trucks just rolling past this way. In fact, they questioned us as well. And we've seen a handful of them as well across various places in the state. We've also seen patrol copters in the air trying to monitor the environment, and they've been a show of force also earlier in the morning, with all sister agency ensuring and trying to raise an alert and raise awareness that they are around, and of course to send a warning signal to disruptors that tomorrow's election there will be zero tolerance for anything such as violence. So on their part, we would say, oh yeah, maybe they are prepared. For RISEC now, there's a whole lot of gray areas, and there are a whole lot of questions, because even as at late this night, there are still some ad hoc staff. I'm sure Biola will have more updates on that. There are still so many ad hoc staffs that are waiting to get assigned, presiding officers that are supposed to have been around or within the community where they are supposed to conduct these exercises. As of now, some of them have not even gotten the necessary things they need, or even traveled to this far distance. So we are looking out for how this will pan out. Everybody is looking onto RISEC and hoping they don't fall short, but with the way it's looking, we might be seeing some lapses, but we can't tell until tomorrow when we can give those updates.
Biola, let's take it from Ni's suggestions about the distribution of materials. What can you tell us on that? Is that fully addressed, or we still have scattered cases of materials not being delivered?
All
right, we seem to have a problem with Biola's audio, so I will come back to you, Ni. I'm hoping I can still ask Biola that question, but I want you to talk to us about, expatiate a little, this heavy presence of security personnel on the ground, and then we have allegations of manhandling by the security agencies earlier in the day. And then you add to the fray the calls by a coalition of parties for people to boycott the local government elections. What can you tell us about the mood of the people seeing the security presence and hearing calls to boycott? What are they saying to you?
Different factions. Some factions see the security agencies not as a threat but as a concern, because the presence of the security agencies, they say you see this much security presence only when we have the state elections or maybe the general elections. And just speaking about local government elections, and we're seeing so much security presence, they are concerned, not threatened, they are concerned. And for some of the factions, this will actually not deter them from coming to exercise their franchise tomorrow. Come rain, come shine, they've decided that it is their right to vote, irrespective of the situation, the political tension, or the legal tussle that is surrounding this current election. And it is also important to note that the the call for boycotts by some of the coalition and some political individuals, yes, is deepening and is beginning to make some think about or rethink their step as to if they will even come out tomorrow. So what most people who we've spoken to are saying is, oh, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to watch. They'll be watching television stations, of course, like News Central, to get updates and see how the flow is, see if everywhere is calm, see how the process is. Then they'll make their decision if they will come to vote or not. But as for now, they can't even decide. In fact, as of this evening, most of them didn't even want to talk to us because they don't know where they stand. So for now, there's so much uncertainty when it has to do with the mood here. But maybe tomorrow, when the political process kicks off, when the electoral process, kicks off, then we can say more as to if the mood has changed. It's no more uncertain this time around, and we see majority of people come out, or it's still going to remain the same voter apathy we discuss as usual.
All right, let's try Biola again. Biola, if you can hear me, can you acknowledge and just talk to us about distribution of materials? How prepared are the ad hoc staff to take on this exercise?
We left research today. Well, so we were at research earlier in the day, and we left at about 5:40 or 5:45 thereabouts. Now they haven't complained by the ad hoc staff that they were yet to be issued their letters and accreditations. I mean, without these people, elections cannot hold. We spoke to two of them, and they said they don't know what to do at the time we did. They told us that if they were not issued the letters, that means election will not hold. In fact, one of them called the election a charade already because, I mean, if by this time, as at that time in the day, RISEC had not pledged those people who are supposed to be agents at the polling units, then what are electorates going there to do? So that is the situation as at 5:45 or thereabouts.
Is the State Electoral Commission saying anything to journalists on that? Are they telling you that these materials will still get to the locations before 8 a.m. tomorrow?
Well, RISEC has assured that everything was working as planned. They said they were fully ready for the election, so have the security operatives as well. But tomorrow will define, or tomorrow will tell us if what they are saying actually is going to play out. Until we get to the polling unit and find out for ourselves what electorates and of course those polling agents are saying, then we will be able to know whether RISEC has put their words to action.
Bill, I'll stay with you because your report earlier was captured the announcement advising residents to boycott the elections. What sense did you get from that press conference about what these coalition plan to do tomorrow? Is it ending at calling on people to boycott the election, or do you expect to see some physical presence during these polls to try and attain that goal?
So the civil society organization groups in Rivers State said they were not going to be part of the election. They also said earlier that they are not even going to participate in voter education. They went further to accuse RISEC of gathering some persons they describe as political instruments to disguise as members of the civil society organization, just to fulfill that part of the Constitution that says they have to do civic education. And of course, civic education has to be done with the National Orientation Agency and of course civil society groups. So these groups have already accused RISEC of being biased and of course using those people they describe as political instruments to front a civil society group. So what they told us at the press briefing was clear that they were not going to be part of this election, and they advised electorates, of course residents, not to come out for the election. So whether they are going to come out physically to enforce that tomorrow, of course, we'll tell again.
Okay, let me come back to you, Nie. Because of the closeness of time to the elections, I will not mention parties, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on the allegations that a huge number of candidates moved from one party to another at the last minute. In that regard, I want to know what the people are saying to you about how they are going to know who they are going to vote for, considering the time frame where these candidates emerged.
Well, Felicity, it's few hours before the election, and before now, we know all the challenges and all the cards have been laid on the table. At various local governments, we've seen even some APC, some party endorse candidates of other parties, even parties that are not party candidates that are not from their own party. We've seen inter-party sponsorship. We've seen a whole lot of these happening before this day. And the truth is that everyone knows who they want to vote for tomorrow. They have that person at the back of their mind, but no one is ready to communicate that individual or say, oh, this is the person.
No, I'm not asking for the individuals. I'm asking, are they sure? Are they telling you that they actually know the candidates that they are going to be voting for? And is this enough time for the state electoral body to put these names on the ballot paper? Because what Biola is saying now is that there are still places that have not received materials needed for the exercise tomorrow.
Oh, no. They raised concerns about that. A lot of them raised concerns about that, saying, and that's one of the issue they also raised with RISIEC, because they said it's the electoral umpire didn't follow the 90-day rule, which would have given more time for civic education, for NOA to pass the right information, for them to know the candidates across various political parties that they are supposed to even vote for. So yes, I can confirm that some people we spoke to, some of them even say they don't know who are the candidates of some parties. So when they get there tomorrow, some might just be voting maybe in love or in affinity for the party, not necessarily the candidate that is going to be representing them in the party. And knowing how important grassroots politics is, it's quite concerning, because if you do not know who you are going to vote for, that means you're probably just voting for the party, which might be what will happen tomorrow. However, it is also important to note that there are some people who know who they want to vote for. They have the underground information of who the candidate is, but they are adding that information to themselves and just seeing how it's going to play out tomorrow.
Biola, your thoughts on the impact of these calls to boycott, those who say they will not participate, and voter apathy. How will the turnout be tomorrow based on what you've heard and seen on the ground?
So before we even discuss the issue of voter apathy, now some party men, some party faithful we spoke to from weeks ago, and even yesterday when we were in Opobo, when we spoke to some party faithful, they told us, I belong to Party A, but right now Party A is not on the ballot. So I don't even know what party I'm voting for. I don't even know whom I'm voting for. And then the person said it right there, that I'm just going to wait for my Oga at the top to give direction. So maybe tomorrow, many other electorates might be waiting for the Oga at the top to give them directive on what party or on what candidates to cast their votes for.
All right, Biola Ani, thank you so much for bringing us up to date with what to expect in the coming hours. And I will urge you, as always, please stay safe as you go about reporting.
Thank you.
Coming up tonight, former Zamfara Central Senator Kabiru Marafa dumps ruling APC. We will tell you more about this after the break. Stay with us. Glad you're still here. You're watching tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. Preparations in top gear ahead of Rivers Local Government Council election as police beef up security across the state. Federal government intervenes in deepening rift between states and electricity distribution companies over tariff setting powers. And Turkey cuts economic ties with Israel and shuts its airspace amid escalating tensions over Gaza. Let's now tell you that the former Zamfara Central Senator Kabiru Marafa has officially resigned from the All Progressive Congress APC, accusing President Bola Tinubu of a use and dump leadership style. Marafa, who coordinated Tinubu's 2023 presidential campaign in Zamfara, said his departure follows extensive consultation with supporters across the state and frustration over worsening security, political neglect and lack of development in Zamfara. Despite delivering victory for Tinubu in the state without his physical presence, Marafa and his political structure say Zamfara has been marginalized, receiving minimal federal appointments and aid, while insecurity and kidnappings continue to rise without adequate government response. Now, the growing tension between state governments and electricity distribution companies over who has the authority to set electricity tariffs is taking a new turn. The federal government, through the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, has now stepped in, summoning all stakeholders to a high-level meeting scheduled for next week in Lagos. At the heart of the dispute is the amended Electricity Act 2023. State energy commissioners operating under the Forum of Commissioners for Power and Energy in Nigeria argue that the law gives state governments full powers to regulate electricity within their jurisdictions, including the ability to set tariffs. But power distribution companies under the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors disagree. While they acknowledge that states can regulate their local power markets, they insist that pricing for cross-border electricity that moves between states remains outside state control. The Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Ltd, Bayo Ojulari, has revealed that the company is under attack from individuals who are opposed to the ongoing transformation efforts and do not have Nigeria's best interests at heart. The GCEO emphasized that patience will be required from the Nigerian people at large to get to the other side of change, which will benefit Nigeria and her citizens. He reiterated his commitment to stay focused in driving the mandate given to the team by President Bola Tinubu. Meanwhile, Ojulari also noted that NNPC Ltd was losing as much as 500 million naira every month on operations at the Port Harcourt refinery before rehabilitation works were suspended. For some perspective, we have Professor Izielem Agbo. He's a petroleum engineering expert and CEO at Energy Equilibrium. He joins us now for this conversation. Thank you very much for obliging us as always. What's your thinking? What does Ojulari mean when he says NNPC Ltd is under attack?
Well, obviously there are competent competitors in the market. I think we should differentiate between two people who criticize NNPC because they disagree with the strategies and the practice of the new leadership from those who are competitors in the market. When he says there are people who are enemies of NNPC, for instance, Dangote is a competitor. Dangote is a patriot, but Dangote will take action that will that is profitable for the Dangote group of companies. Dangote will not take actions that is profitable for a commercial entity like NNPC at its own monetary disadvantage. So there are competitors like Dangote. There are competitors like Nigerian importers and their foreign partners. Their foreign partners are traders. These Nigerian importers and foreign partners are the people that Dangote call the cabal. They include some managements of NNPC. They include importers of PMS and their foreign partners. Those are the people that didn't want Dangote to come into stream, and they don't want NNPC to repair the refineries. Okay? So they are pursuing their own economic interests. They are not pursuing the economic interests of ordinary Nigerians. So those people don't want NNPC to succeed because they will lose money. And somebody like Dangote Dangote said that NNPC, Port Harcourt refinery is trash, it cannot be repaired. So he tried to devalue the value of Port Harcourt refinery, not because he's an enemy of NNPC, but because he's a private man that wants to make profit. So if you can devalue NNPC Port Harcourt refinery, when the government sells it, he can buy it cheap, and within 18 months, the thing will be functioning at 85% capacity, and he will make a big profit. So that's why Dangote say it's crap. So there are some people who are not in favor of our refineries being repaired by a commercial entity like NNPC, not because they are bad people, but because it is not in their interest. They want to make profit.
All right, let's take a bit of detail and take on that Port Harcourt refinery you talked about. One of the things Ojulari said was that they've completed a commercial review of the Port Harcourt refinery, and from that review, they have concluded that the best way forward is for them to get a true professional refining company to join them and operate the refinery. I want you to explain what that means. I mean, we've been hearing about partnerships and how to get the refinery working, and now we hear that a commercial review has been concluded.
Okay. When they make a review, there are two refineries in Port Harcourt. The old one, that is 60,000 barrels throughput per day, and the newer one that is 150,000 that's 150,000 barrels per day throughput. So now what it means by that is that they are trying to repair those. The one that they repaired, that they said in December 2024, that said they have been repaired, and they shut down in May 2025, which the GCEO said they were losing 500 million naira a day. That is the old refinery. Now let's talk about the new refinery, the 150,000 barrels a day. This refinery was built in 1989. And there was a turnaround maintenance in 1991, 1994, 2000, and 2007. So since 2007, they've not really done anything to it. So now they are trying to repair it, right? In 2011, they said they had 1.7 billion that in 2011 that was meant to repair it. But part of the problem with turnaround maintenance of that Port Harcourt refinery have been poor planning and high level of corruption and mismanagement. A turnaround maintenance, you don't know what you are going to find, so you budget for it, and there are certain, when you do a test and you say, this part of the refinery is not working, this part of the refinery have not been used in the last 10, 15 years, and then you open it up. For instance, when the Kalundika committee in 2012 went to look at the Port Harcourt refinery, they found out that two of the four power plants were faulty, and that the 4 boilers were non-operational. Now, by the 2024, when we go in there, we may find out that the whole 4 power plants are not operational. So there are some things you plan for. And when you have repaired them and you opened up the engine, you may find more faults. These are standard stuff. So there are 2 stages. One stage is to repair the refinery and make it functional. The second stage is to run it efficiently. The comment you have just made, which the GCEO made, is that we are thinking of how we will run it efficiently after we have repaired it. But let's take the first step of how to repair it. They said in 2020, they got $1.5 billion for repairing those 2 Port Harcourt refineries. But they only released about $98 million and about 17 billion naira. Not the $1.5 billion, all of it was not released. Now, of this 98 million naira, they gave the thing to a foreign company, Maria Technomore, to help them repair it in 2021-22. Okay. But that project was mismanaged. Now, EFCC is finding out that some of the managers took 10 million, another manager took $13 million. So there's a lot of corruption and mismanagement. So the first thing is to repair the refineries. Now, finally, let me say this. NNPC is a commercial entity by itself. Now, sometimes, as a commercial entity, you have the right to hire anybody around the world. In the past, Dangote bought the Port Harcourt refinery for $750 million. And then Yaradua returned it to the government. If you put a private company like Dangote and give them the Port Harcourt refinery, they will go to India, everywhere, hire the best expert, and within 18 months, they will repair it. That's the same way NNPC should do.
All right, you were making so much points. I was hesitant to interrupt you, but we're really out of time for this conversation. So if you just wrap up in, say, 30 seconds, please.
Yes, I think that NNPC should utilize all its advantage as a commercial entity, not only to stop the private competitors like Dangote and the importers, but also to control political interference from the Senate and other members that are politicians and other members of the presidency. Even if he says the president doesn't interfere, he should stop interference from the political class and from economic competitors and operate like a commercial entity, the same way Dangote operates, and hire the best mind, repair the refinery and run it. All
right, Prof, we'll have to leave it there. Ojulari does have his work cut out for him. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
He needs all the support we can give him.
Oh, yes, he does. Still ahead tonight, Rwanda receives first batch of deportees from the United States. This and more reports when we come back. Members of All Farmers Association of Nigeria in Abia State, under the auspices of Real Farmers, have decried what they call unnecessary extortion of farmers in the state. The group is also asking the state government to wade into the leadership crisis that is rocking the association. News Center's Chinwe Ugele has more.
To assess their recent activities, the spokesperson, Precious Uwoma, reiterates the need to conduct a free and fair election that will enthrone the people's leadership.
Ms. Gift Obonna should stop parading herself as the Afan chairman in Abia State because there has been no proper election of Afan in Abia State.
Today, we are here to ask for the government to come to our aids and the Honorable Commissioner to come and arrange a new farmers' election.
A member, Amachuku Uweke, supports the motion, alleging that the current chairperson of the All Farmers Association in Abia State, Gift Obonna, is not representing their interest, while accusing the national leadership of the group of extortion of overhiking of nomination forms for aspiring members. The state chairman, Gift Obonna, had in a press briefing also alleged that the government was relegating their members in the ongoing state program.
To this day, many of us have yet to receive any certificates or ID cards in return for our payment, raising serious concerns regarding the financial management and ethical conduct of the association.
Meanwhile, the Commissioner for Agriculture, Cliff Abeze, says his ministry has decided to capture real farmers in the state directly to discourage exclusion of people from any facility that is provided for them, a gesture for which the farmers swiftly expressed their gratitude.
Whether it's our fan 1 or our fan 2 or our fan 3, we are talking about the farmers. So it was important that we worked with verified farmers.
In Abia State, real farmers have been captured I think this is where their grievances is coming from, because they no longer have that chance to grab everything coming to the farmers.
The chairperson has also, in a telephone chat, debunked any rancor within the association.
I cannot answer this or this question. There's nothing like that. I don't know why the allegation.
Stakeholders say lasting solution to the disagreement within the association will only come when members dialogue to resolve the grey areas. In Omaha for News Central, Chinwe Ugeli.
Outside Nigeria, 7 migrants deported from the U.S. have arrived in Rwanda, the first of 250 expected to be taken in by the African state under a deal reached with President Donald Trump's administration. Rwandan government spokesperson Yolanda Makolo gave no details about their nationalities, only explaining that 4 of them would remain in Rwanda, with 3 opting to return to their home countries. Rights groups have warned that such deportations could breach international law if people are sent to countries where they risk torture or other abuses. To a headline story now, Turkey has closed its ports to Israeli ships, banned Turkish ships from docking in Israel, and sealed its airspace to Israel aircraft targeting official and military flights. These are parts of measures to cut trade ties with the country amid series of attacks on escalation in Gaza, which it has labeled genocide. These sweeping steps include stopping container ships carrying weapons and ammunition. Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan made the announcement at a special session of Parliament on Friday. And the latest from the U.S., President Donald Trump has revoked Secret Service protection for his political opponent, former Vice President Kamala Harris. White House officials confirmed that Harris' federal security detail will end on September 1. Typically, former vice presidents receive 6 months of Secret Service protection after leaving office, but Harris had had her protection extended by a directive signed by President Joe Biden before leaving office in January. This decision comes amid heightened tensions in U.S. politics following 2 assassination attempts on Trump ahead of November 2024 election. Tonight returns with business, sports, and entertainment news. Do stay with us.
The Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, has announced that all postal shipments from Nigeria will attract a mandatory prepaid custom duty of $80 or its naira equivalent. This takes effect from August 29, 2025 and will affect all shipments from Nigeria to the United States, excluding letters and documents. The agency explained that the charges follow a new U.S. executive order suspending duty-free de minimis exemptions for all countries under the International Emergency Economic Power Act. NIPOST warned that the policy will significantly affect Nigerians sending goods to relatives, businesses, and partners in America, with shipments facing additional custom checks and potential delays. While assuring customers of continued reliable service, NIPOST said it is engaging the Universal Postal Union, U.S. Customs, and airline partners to cushion the impact of this global regulatory adjustment. Air Peace has made history by operating the first ever direct flight between Nigeria and Brazil, thus inaugurating the Lagos-Sao Paulo route with a Boeing 777. The milestone follows the signing of a bilateral air service agreement, BASA, between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Brasilia President Luiz Lula da Silva in Brasilia. Aviation Minister Festus Keyamo said the new route shortens journeys that previously took up to 20 hours via Europe or the Middle East. He added that the Air Peace's order of 21 Embraer jets from Brazil will deepen trade and aviation ties. Chairman Alan Oyema praised the federal government's support, while officials hailed BASA as a gateway for trade, tourism, and stronger diplomatic cooperation. And on the NGX today, we closed the week in the red, meaning a mixed performance all in all for the trading week that ends Friday. Year-to-date, return moderated to 36.3%, even as equity investors lost 166 billion naira. Market cap is down to 88.93 trillion. All share index 140,557.24 points, and we're down 49 basis points today. Coming to sectoral performances, predominantly negative, with insurance sector being the outlier, up 44 basis points, but all other sectors are in the red. Banking, oil and gas, consumer goods and industrial down to end the week. And that's it for business tonight. I am Joanna Mustafa. Okwe brings you sports news next.
Super Eagles head coach Chelle has named his final 23-man squad for next month's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Rwanda and South Africa. Captain William Troost-Ekong, striker Victor Osimhen, and midfielder Alex Iwobi headlined the list released by the Nigeria Football Federation earlier today. Nigeria, currently fourth in Group C, hosts Rwanda on 6th of September in Uyo before facing South Africa on the 9th of September in Bloemfontein. Goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali, who impressed at the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations, retains his spot despite doubt over his availability due to injury. Emerging talents Felix Agu, Benjamin Friedrichs, Christianus Uche, and Tolu Arokudari also made the squad. The matches are crucial to reviving Nigeria's qualification hopes after missing the 2022 tournament. Matchday 2 encounters will take place this weekend in the Nigeria Premier Football League. Shooting Stars will be hoping to bounce back after an opening day defeat at home to Bayo Ojulari United. They will be seeking redemption at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium against Bendel Insurance on Saturday. Another big match is on the cards on Sunday in Port Harcourt when last season's runners-up Rivers United welcome President's Federation Cup holders Kwara United. The remaining fixtures include Bendel Insurance versus Shooting Stars, Bayo Ojulari United versus Barao FC, Eyimba versus Niger Tornadoes, Kano Pillars versus Wiki Tourists, Nasarawa United versus Abia Warriors, Plateau United versus Katsina United, Rivers United FC versus Kwara United, Warri Wolves versus Enugu Rangers, and Ikorodu City versus El Kanami Warriors. Senegal have claimed the bronze at the 2024 African Nations Championship after a 4-2 penalty shootout win against Sudan. The intense encounter ended in a 1-1 draw after 90 minutes, forcing the fixture into extra time. Sudan's Tia Assad gave Kwesi Appiah's team the opener in the 6th minute, while Senegal's Senye Mbaye Ndiaye equalized in the 58th minute. The final will take place tomorrow at Nairobi's Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, where Morocco will attempt to win a third record title, while debutants Madagascar look to complete a fairy tale run. For the Atlas Lions, victory would confirm their dominance in the competition. For Madagascar, it would mark an extraordinary breakthrough as the first Southern African and island nation to lift the trophy. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has met FIFA President Gianni Infantino to review preparations for the 2026 World Cup, which Mexico will co-host with United States and Canada. Sheinbaum confirmed the opening ceremony will be staged at Mexico City's Azteca Stadium on June the 11th, 2026. Mexico will host 13 matches across Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. Infantino, who also met U.S. President Donald Trump last week, continues discussions with host nations ahead of the December 5th World Cup draw in Washington. The 2026 edition will mark the first time the tournament is staged across 3 countries. The event comes amid political and trade tensions between the host nations, but preparations are progressing. And that's all on Sports News tonight. Entertainment is next with Adewo.
Adoa is here with a smile, so we know what to expect. Hi, Adoa.
I'm all right. How are you doing, Felicity?
I'm great.
Well, tonight we're going to be celebrating the icons in Nollywood and, you know, some other conversations in Hollywood as well. But let me jump right into it quickly.
All right.
All right. Now, Nollywood legend Ido Phillips, a.k.a. Ya Rainbow, is turning 83 and marking 60 years on stage with a 3-country tour straight from Mushin to Egypt to USA and Canada. Back to back. Born in Ijebu-Ode in 1942, Ya Rainbow started as a nurse before joining her late husband's theater troupe. Her stage name comes from Oshumari, meaning rainbow. Over the decades, she has blessed Nollywood with classics like Yemi My Lover, Elepo Robbie, and Sugar Rush. Now at 83, she's still glowing, using this tour to celebrate her life, legacy, and impact on millions. The dates aren't out yet, but fans are already anticipating. Felicity, what do you think?
I'll just say one thing. I love it when women age so gracefully.
Yes.
Like, if this is what 83 looks like, then I want a really long life.
And she's still really active,
yeah.
you know, doing
My mom
things.
at 80 is still a dam.
That's nice, that's nice. Well, we're here, and we're all here for the celebration as well. Now, let's talk about a Hollywood veteran as well. But, yeah, Hollywood legend Bruce Willis has made a big lifestyle change amid his dementia fight. His wife, Emma Hemming Willis, revealed he now lives in a nearby one-story home tailored to his care, with a 24/7 support team standing by. She admits it was a tough decision, but it's best for their daughters Mabel and Evelyn. Despite communication struggle, Bruce's laughter and spark still shines through, while family meals keep him, close to home and, still give him that home life feeling. Now, Emma shares more of their journey in her memoir, The Unexpected Journey, dropping September 9th. Felicity, Bruce Willis, a legend. Dementia is quite a huge thing to deal with.
Choose wisely, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. You can be strong today, you don't know what tomorrow is going to be. Choose wisely. It's not how fast you do it. I mean, he chose well.
Yes.
His family has been phenomenal in the way they've taken care of him so far, and I expect the rest of his days will be soft.
I like that. Well, they've heard it. Choose wisely. Oh, that's necessary. Well, that's all we have on entertainment tonight, by the way.
And that's all the news we have for you tonight. But not before we bring you a quick reminder of our top stories. Preparations are in top gear ahead of Rivers State local council election as police beef up security across board. Federal government intervenes in deepening rift between states and electricity distribution companies over tariff setting powers. We also brought you news that Turkey has cut economic ties with Israel and has shut its airspace amid escalating tensions over Gaza. Would love to get your feedback. Please share them using the number showing now on your screen. You can follow us on all social media platforms to do that as well. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, on Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Have a good night. 8